Thank you for the first people joining us today for this panel discussion on tackling climate change, private sector engagement, and scales coordination. I will wait a few minutes to let everybody join in, and then we'll start very shortly. Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us today for this side event organized during the UNECE Regional Forum on Sustainable Development. So we had the chance to be selected today to organize one amongst many side events organized today and tomorrow for this regional meeting, organized ahead of the high-level political forum that's organized in July in New York. So today we'll be focusing on SDGs 13 and 17, on tackling climate change and also partnerships to achieve the SDGs. So as you might notice, there's a slight change of organization. Niels, unfortunately, cannot be with us today due to unforeseen circumstances, but we're lucky to have our great Luca Uccello, who will be speaking for the UN Global Compact Network France with us also today. So Luca is the head of programs at the local network France. We'll have also the chance to hear Marie Blanchard-Brunel, who's the Chief Marketing, Innovation and CSR Officer for ADEV Materials. Thank you, Marie.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
We have also with us Virginie Sauvé-Guachon, who is, who is the climate strategy leader at Renault Group. Thank you, Virginie, for joining us as well.
Thank you, Sue.
Perfect. And so today we'll be talking about tackling climate change, private sector engagement, and scales coordination. To kick off the exchange, I'd like to set first the context. The idea of this panel discussion is to really see what progress and impact looks like for a business that wishes to tackle climate change, but also how businesses can benefit from multi-stakeholders dialogue through initiatives such as the UN Global Compact. Before we really get into the discussion, I'd really like to thank the UNECE for allowing us to have this conversation during this regional forum, and hopefully this conversation will lead to interesting takes. So first off, I would like to start with you, Luca. Can you tell us, for people who don't know, what is the UN Global Compact? What is the UNGC in one sentence?
Thank you, Camille. Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be here, and thank you very much for the warm welcome. So what is the UN Global Compact? UN Global Compact is, let's say, a wide covenant for dedicated to the private sector. Is a multi-stakeholder initiative that was launched by Kofi Annan in 1999 during the World Economic Forum, and Our objective is to protecting human rights, guaranteeing international labor norms, the protection of the environment, and the promotion of anti-corruption practices. And that is dedicated to the private sector. So we are part of the UN ecosystem, but even if we are not a UN agency, but we are a private initiative, like a private sector initiative. So as you said, well, the UN Global Compact today is mainly based on two main references. The first one are the 10 principles of the Global Compact. Maybe we will come back on that later on. And the second one that most of you know is the 2030 Agenda, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals.
Thank you, Luca, for setting that context. And could you say a word on how is the situation today compared to what it was when the UN Global?
For sure. So it is now more than 20 years ago when Kofi Annan launched the initiative. Kofi Annan was the Secretary General at that time, and we were in a world where regulation was quite different, either in Europe and elsewhere in the world. So we had basically a fragmented world from that point of view. And at that time, we saw that the private sector was not engaging and respecting laws in a very aligned way along the globe. And that initiative was born by that need, the need of having the same approach in Europe, as well as in Southeast Asia, as well as in Africa. Can we say it is still a need today? Yes, even if so far the regulation is converging to something more aligned. And the Global Compact was born for that, and all the members that have joined so far has committed to respect human rights, the protection of the environment, and the other principles, whatever they are. So here, the reason why the Global Compact was born, and what is the Global Compact today? So since that time, the Global Compact also was mandated by the UN General Assembly to translate the Sustainable Development Goals in business language. We know that the 2030 Agenda is basically a political, worldwide agenda, and sometimes it is difficult for the private sector to understand the political language. So how do we translate those political objectives in concrete actions? And this has been also the work of the Global Compact so far, trying to understand how we can practically translate that into concrete actions. And we see that as a very strong link with the 10 principles, because before any action plan, there are principles to which the strategies are inspired by. So the 10 principles are the seeds, and the Sustainable Development Goals, I would like to say those are the trees that are burning, that were born from those seeds. Concerning this specific thematic today, and then I will leave the word to you and to the members of the Global Compact. Climate change today is an alarming issue, of course, but we try to give an answer in a very positive way, and by giving also some references on how companies could work on that. And so we propose to work on the Science-Based Target Initiative, and I think we could actually see a little bit more with the concrete experience of Marie Blanchard and Virginie, so that are on the table.
Thank you, Luca. I'd like to go to you, Marie, now, to have your perspective. So you work in a specific industry that you will tell us more about. So considering climate change and your industry, can you tell us what are the specific challenges ahead for your company in your industry?
Yeah, thank you, Camille. Just maybe to understand what we're talking about, a very short introduction about who is ADEV Materials. So ADEV Materials means added value on materials. So we are a mid-sized company. We are 800 employees around the world for 200 million euros of sales. And added value on materials mean that we convert different kind of materials, flexible materials such as tapes, foams, or technical films. We laminate them, we cut them so that we deliver them in the exact size and shape for our customers. In order for our customers to use them for a very demanding applications such as the structural assembly, thermal management, electrical insulation. And we do the same kind of converting with some liquid materials. So we are talking here about adhesives, sealants, paints, coatings, anything about chemicals. That we transform by custom packaging them. So from a big size, making a little size and very practical to use. So we are and what we call an intermediary between the big chemicals and big manufacturers in the world and some big industrial customers, because we are working for many different kind of industries, from aerospace to automotive, to healthcare, industry, construction, power, electronics, so many different kind of applications. And I would say that one of our main challenge at that time when we are doing our carbon footprint analysis is that it's the scope 3 which is representing the most important part, because it's and especially the purchasing of raw materials. Because it represents more than 90% of our carbon footprint. So our main challenge is not really linked to our own industry, because we are not a very energy intensive industry. It's not linked to where we are based, because we are located mostly in Northern America and in Europe, but we are not facing some risky, we are not in risky territories linked to climate change, but it's really more about our products. And one of our big challenge is how could we work on having some alternative products which could be less impactful, or how could we work on the way we implement those materials to our customers in order to avoid our customers using so many materials and avoid them also having many waste. So this is mainly what we need to address in our own industry today.
Thank you. And during our preparation meeting, we talked about the fact that it's your client, Schneider Electric, that asked you, or I don't really know how precisely it happened, but encouraged you to join the initiative, the UN Global Compact. And if we're thinking with a bit of imagination, what do you think your company would look like today had you not joined the UN Global Compact?
It's true that Schneider has always been a very, let's say, pushy customer, because we've been signatory of the Global Compact since 2012, so more than 10 years ago. And Schneider from them has always pushed us to engage in many different initiatives, talking about the EcoVadis, and they have launched a very ambitious program regarding the zero carbon project in which we are. So I mean, it's good when your partners help us to go in this way. I would say that anyhow, I think even without Schneider, we would have been in this initiative. Because the company has been founded by Pascal Nadomi and Julien Duvanel, who are the two co-founders of the company. and they've always considered that to be a profitable a business should be sustainable. So we should really engage ourselves and the strategy of the company into a very structured corporate social responsibility policy, and signing, in fact, this the Global Compact and initiative is also, of course, a way to structure the way we deal, in fact, with those sustainability challenges, and especially with the climate one. So I would say that thank you very much to Schneider, but anyhow, I think it's really part of the DNA of the company. But it's true that we have always tried to be a little bit a step ahead of what needs to be done. But I will come back to this later. So.
Okay, thank you. And last question to you before I go to Virginie on also the general context. How do you collaborate within a network such as the UN Global Compact or any other network you evolve in to improve the environment impact of your products?
Now, what is really true is that you can't work on all these challenges alone. So the network is of course really important. As I say, being a part of the Global Compact gives us some principle, as you explained also, Luca, and that's important. But we are also working a lot with any of our stakeholders within the company. Of course, we are working a lot with our suppliers because we need them to work also with us regarding this alternative product I was talking about. We need to go more on the green chemistry. We need to work on products that are more easily recyclable, either by being recyclable with cardbox, for example, or we could work also on how to dismantle the products in which our materials go, so that it could be easily recyclable also. So I mean, and of course we were talking about Schneider. Our customers are very important because they also are facing some challenges with energy transition, and we want also to be a kind of enabler for them, to help them in their own energy transition. And we have also built a lot of local networking, just sharing the best practices and having those discussions with our shareholders. We are as I say, a private company, but we've got some shareholders, and they are also pushing us to establish a clear ambition, KPI, objectives, and then action plans. So it's all this mix of stakeholders that are important to go ahead on all these topics, of course.
Absolutely. Virginie, if I go to you now, I will ask you the same first question as Marie. So you work for Renault, which is a big automotive company, a leader in its industry. I would like to pick your brain on the current transformation the industry is going through, and what is your opinion, your vision on the current challenges the industry is going through, and also more specifically, what are Renault's challenges ahead? Oh, Virginie, your mic is off.
Thank you for your questions. This is a huge challenge. Transportation, due to its scales, account for over a quarter of greenhouse gas emission and has a significant impact on resources. So this is why we conduct a strategy about climate, but also about resources through the life cycle analysis. As Marie said a few minutes ago, on transportation, we have a different status of the ratio between amount and downstream scope 3, because for automotive sector, with the current vehicles range that we sold, we have 80% of the greenhouse gas emission in the life cycle, which is directly linked to the product we are selling. This is the usage phase, which is the more important. It means that our customers are directly impacted by the kind of product that we will be able to propose. And also, we need to be transparent and to explain that cradle-to-grave analysis, mainly because in the current Europe market, the regulation is looking only at exhaust emission, which is a partial view for the carbon footprint. So we need to discuss with all stakeholders to have this full understanding of where are the climate stakes in automotive sector. And about Renault Group challenges, this is mainly the switch from internal combustion engines to zero emissions vehicle. Electrification has begun, but this is only the first step. Just to mention the order of magnitude to understand the transformation of automotive sector, when you switch from a thermic vehicle to an electric vehicle, you reduce by 30 to 60% of the full life cycle emissions. But doing that, we also have a positive, meaning an increasing impact on the production phase. So we absolutely need to mobilize all stakeholders for the production of the components of the car because of the battery production, which is adding greenhouse gas emissions on the current one. And to conclude on the challenges and the future, I just would like to say some words about regulations. Automotive sector is highly regulated, but it also raises the question of the technical autonomy. The current European Green Deal challenges automotive constructors to move away from fossil fuel engines to electric car. But we are convinced that electric car could be not the only solution. And one of our challenges is to open discussion with regulatory bodies to be able to open the scopes of technology and going through this exhaust emissions regulation to a life cycle regulation to be able to take decision regarding the whole life cycle of our product. And this is key for the next coming years.
Absolutely. Well, thank you to the three of you for setting the scene, the context for this panel discussion on both the evolution of the UN Global Compact and the specific challenges of your industries. Now, if we dive more into your respective companies' commitments, Maria, I'd like to go to you and ask you, so your company has joined the UN Global Compact in 2012, and so after now 12 years of being a member of the UNGC, how do you think your commitment has evolved when it comes to the 10 principles and the 17 SDGs?
Well, being a signatory has been maybe the beginning of the journey for us, and then of course we have done a lot of things. We have engaged ourselves, as I mentioned before, into the EcoVadis certification, which is a good way also to communicate and to again to structure and to set up KPI and roadmap and things like that. So just to give a trajectory. And we have also an important point in this journey is in 2020 when we decided to establish our raison d'être, our purpose. Because this is something we're talking about network, and this is something that we did together with all our stakeholders. And that was a very important point because our raison d'être today is converting industrial challenges into sustainable material solution. And it also helps us to really focus on the I would say the main SDG, or the SDG which are the most important and linked to our business and to our strategy. And this is where also we decide also to put some focus on our roadmap. So one of them, of course, is the gender equality, the number 5. So today we have put in place many social programs regarding how to add power, add the female part into our management committee and in our employees and etc. One of the big challenges was also the SDG number 7 regarding energy. Number 9 is also something that has really helped us to grow, because it was regarding innovation, and innovation, as Virginie mentioned, is also very important for us, because we, as enabler of energy transition for our customers, we are of course thinking with them about how to move from thermic to electric, how to move from thermic to fuel cell, how to go into renewable energies in photovoltaic or wind panel and things like that, and our products can go into that. It can contribute into also moving this way. And of course, the 13 was one of the main important regarding climate change. And on this particular SDG for us, we really focus in the past 2 years by participating to a program with one of our shareholders called BPI France. And this initiative is the decarbonization accelerator. So it's how in 2 years you just again set up what are your objectives depending on the strategy of your business. How do you define the KPIs at 2025, 2030, and even some ambition for 2050? And how do you put in place some very precise action plan? And how do you onboard also all the people inside your company to go there? So maybe I'll come back later on this decarbonization accelerator, but this is really important. And I must say that Global Compact is still something very important for us, not only by being a signatory since more than 12 years, but today we have also been early adopter of the platform, and we really want to continue our partnership with Global Compact. Also creating some, we were talking about networking, creating a network at our local level. Our headquarters are based in Lyon, so that's important. We are going to build this also. And Pascal Nadomny, our CEO, is also a candidate of that administration board for the Global Compact France. So it's I think it's important to keep the link and to have this kind of discussion we have today. And I must say that with all this this roadmap and objective, we have really begun to change things with our main SDGs.
Great. It's really important to have some concrete examples of how you really transform and materialize your commitment into actions. I'll go now to you, Virginie. So Renaud has been a long time member of the UN Global Compact. You've been a member since 2001, and so you've mentioned the deep transformation the industry is going through with the shift from thermic to electric vehicles. How do you engage into this transformation without leaving anyone behind?
It's a question which is coming through all the aspects of the environmental policy. I will give you a few examples. When Renault Group built its climate strategy, we aim to announce as all OEMs that we will be neutral. For example, for Renault Group, it's 2040 in Europe and 2050 in the world. But the main important point for us was to be very concrete and transparent to what we will do in the next coming years, because these few coming years are very important to step ahead all stakeholders. So we had a roadmap built with 9 areas of work. 4 of them addresses the product, as what I said just a few minutes ago. Electrification is one way, but the electrification means that you need to be able to have charging point near your home, something like that. So this is why in our current lineup products, we continue to propose some hybrid lineup, for example, as a transition way to wait for the spread of the charging point wherever you are, because France is in advance, but this is not the case for all countries. So we need to be able to continue to propose some product which will reduce the environmental impact, but which will adapt the speed of the transformation. So this is one of the first example. Second example is the way to address new ideas, innovation. For example, low emission zone or zero emission zone are developing in cities mainly, but it will spread again in the future. And the question of the last mile deliveries is a key one. And in Renault Group, with Mobilize, we imagine a project which is a real innovation. This is, it's named Bento, and this is a very small compact electric vehicles which will address the possibility to deliver furniture at the last kilometers, but also, for example, for people who are doing maintenance, to have a small place to have all their tools and to be able to enter in the cities, whatever the timing of the day. So new mobility innovations will be also a playground to be able to propose some solution to all society members or person. And then if I continue and I take the example of the industry in automotive. In Renault Group, for example, we decided to reduce by 80% the impact of our industry on greenhouse gas before 2030. Doing that, we transform all the facilities in the plant, switching from heat to electricity, going to new processes, for example. But doing that, the skills of the member of the company needs also to switch. And in Flins, we have initiated what we are calling a Renew University. This is a training center which offers courses that we developed with our partner on new technology specifically. And this Renew University started in 2021, and we already have trained more than 20,000 people since its creation. So this is very important to propose to transform not only the product, but also skills and organizations.
That's impressive. And during our preparation meeting, so you told us about the different innovation and education opportunities you put in place to achieve better environmental outcomes standard, but absolutely not at the cost of safety or technical requirements that the industry has achieved so far. So could you tell us more about this?
Yes, and I will mainly give you some examples about safety, because this is about people, and we made some studies, and the conclusion was that currently you have many actions to assist and prevent accidents, but in some cases the speed that fireman will be able to go into the car is key to save life. And from now, that kind of question was not addressed. And this is why we imagine in Renault Group cars what we called a QR. This is a QR code, Q rescue code. This is for firemen. They have an application on their phone, and with the QR code, they have the map, the plan of the car, and they know exactly where they can open and cut, for example, the steel of the car to be able to go more quickly inside the car. This is one example. A second example is about battery. I'm sure that you have heard about fire of battery. To avoid that topic, we imagine in our battery what we are calling a fireman access. This is a specific place where the fireman can just flow fast the battery to secure the intervention on electric vehicle. So safety around cars and for people is also one of the ways to develop our environmental and societal strategy.
Thank you, Virginie. It's really impressive to see how technology improvement goes hand in hand with environmental progress as well. So thank you for sharing that. Luca, so we've seen two examples of participants' company and how innovation, education, and network dialogue really helps with tackling climate change. And so we have seen really concrete examples of that. Now, if we go on the other side of the UNGC side, can you tell us more on how the UNGC accompany members in the transformation of their business model?
Yeah, for sure. I took some notes because actually it was quite interesting listening to both of you, and what has emerged definitely increased my conviction that we are a multi-stakeholder initiative, and when we see these different cases, we see that every day different members, different cases, different challenges. And so our initiative in this way wants to accompany members of the Global Compact and the future members of the Global Compact in giving these insights, right? So by collecting best practices, but also by knowing what are the challenges to which the members are faced every day for the climate change adaptation, for tackling the climate change, for increasing the resiliency. These are all cases, these are all scenarios that only by playing the collective intelligence, we are able to give back to the network. So this is something very important that we do in order to give back a kind of feedback so that the future members or those who are already in the network that want to take this path, they are already capitalizing on these challenges and these issues. So yeah, we provide that, but we also look at, we try to give back also a new point of view of what's happening in the world and what is going to happen in the future. Because when we see at all different industries, we see at different challenges. So climate change is not only one discipline issue. Climate change is a multidisciplinary issue. We see at the technology challenge. Virginie and Marie, they both talk about this point. From one side, you see that there are materials should improve, but without decreasing the safety of the materials, and by answering to the customers, to their customers. At the same time, Renault, the same thing. The technology challenge of shifting toward electricity, but at the same time, we by keeping the safety as at the center, right? We met last week with Special Envoy Jean Todt, who is in charge of road safety, for example, and we spoke about that. We spoke that how could actually sustainability could give new lights to road safety. So I think, for example, today we are completely at the center also of this discussion. Can we actually say to the members, you should transform toward a new virtuous model, but at the same time, keeping the same technical standards so that actually the safety is not endangered. So these are all things that members are faced today, and we have as a network highlight. But there are also commercial challenges. There are regulatory challenges. We, as a network, we see that today there is a lot of attention on the outcomes, but we forget how much effort we should put at company level in transforming the way of reporting. For example, so far, companies have leveraged accountability systems, the traditional accountability systems, but we forget that, and well, in this case, not you, Marie and Virginie, because your companies already do that very well, but that the workforce, the colleagues should be actually trained on how to deal with extra financial data, how to deal with scientific data, how can we transform the mindset of the company by shifting from economic and accountability towards scientific data. So this is a real challenge. So very interesting stuff is also what you mentioned about EcoVadis. For example, today as a network, we also work a lot with the EcoVadis, and in the future, we are going to give more feedback on how the communication on progress of the Global Compact is going to take into account also all these other initiatives. So why am I evoking all these challenges? Because when you are in a network, you are not alone, and all these challenges have been faced somewhere else. And so our role is really to make the catalyst of all of that, giving back the feedbacks, listening to the needs of Global Compact members, but also from outside the network, and trying to give few ideas on how could we capitalize on good things, how we could capitalize also on failures. We have a very strong discussion also on how could we leverage failures in order that it could not happen again. If today we speak about climate change, but if we think about everything that happened on human rights, for example, to avoid human rights catastrophes, or, well, we should take these examples so we can actually remind that there is no zero risk. So we all work in order to prevent, we all work to get things better, to put in place alerts and systems that can actually work. And for climate change is even more, sometimes it could be even easier sometimes, because it's very strongly linked to external factors that we can try to control with the right systems. So I think this is a snapshot of how the network is working today. And tomorrow we are going to publish a practical guide, for example, on the science-based target initiative in French, so that can actually the French-speaking countries can actually all look at that in order to embed this methodology. As a local network from the Global Compact, we strongly believe that the science-based target initiative is a good way to address the issue because it's scientific-based. But that should not forget the accountability of the company into deploying in it in the right way, training people, letting them understand, in fact, what does it mean to deal with scientific data. And yeah, there is a lot of attention on these issues, and I think that at least at France level, the network and the private sector is moving in the right way. And we hope that the efforts that we always sustain in that direction will continue, because there is a lot of distance that should be covered. Is a long path. So in that sense, we encourage even those who are not members of the Global Compact to think about these issues, to acknowledge the challenge, to acknowledge also the new regulation incoming, in order to sustain also the efforts of the society in the end.
Thank you, Luca, for providing us with more insights on how the UNGC really accompany businesses in transforming the business model. What I hear from what you are all saying, so obviously in this panel discussion we're touching on the SDG 13, but really the backbone of our discussion is the SDG 17 on partnerships, and how we really benefit from peer learning and network initiatives. So I'd really like to dive more into that idea of partnerships and multi-stakeholder dialogue. And I'll start with you, Virginie. So transforming the business model, it implies an effort to change management, both internal and external, with suppliers and stakeholders. So I'm asking you that question: is stakeholder dialogue the right ingredient for the future of the industry of automotive?
It's essential. If I go back to some of the elements mentioned earlier, you have understood that this is a complete ecosystem that is transforming. So a car manufacturer cannot do that alone. And if I can add that, it is very important to identify the risks and opportunities of this transition. And to do that, we also need to discuss with our partnership, with our stakeholders, to see the overall point of views that we can have on that question. And all the discussion are also very useful for the new projects, for the innovations, because we need some help to support, to promote, to accompany all the companies in their innovation and development. I will give you a few concrete examples. First one, the topic of the battery. Battery is impacting the greenhouse gas emission, and you understood previously that is very important, this impact. But the question of the size of the battery could be directly linked to the number of charging points and to the fast charging solution accessibility. If the price of that electricity and the time needed to charge the battery is going through decrease, it means that we will be able to reduce the size of the battery, and doing that without impacting our customer habits, we will be able to lower the impact on environmental resources through batteries. So this is one example. A second example is about the topic of recycling. And the capacity to use recycled material in our industry. In Renault Group, we have announced a few months ago the creation of a new entity named The Future is Neutral. This entity has the purpose to develop circular economy network dedicated to automotive. The idea is to be strengths on network and develop partnership and be supported by public policy to be able to develop the capacity of recycling. And the idea is not only to recycle the old usage product, but also to be able to re-employ in closed loop those materials from end-life vehicles to new vehicles or new batteries to lower the impact on resources. And to do that, the development of dialogue is crucial to address all these new businesses and new topics.
Thank you, Virginie. Now I'm going back to Marie. So during our preparation meeting, we really talked about the fact that leading firms, they have an autonomy on how they lead the way on transformation, and smaller companies, they have to be able to be really flexible and adaptable when it comes to their production. So how have you leveraged initiatives such as the UNGC or other networks initiatives to be up to this big task?
Well, I totally agree with what Virginie said. I mean, even in small company, we need to work together. And this is also what I explained previously. We need to work together with our supplier because we need them to provide some alternative solution, but we need also to work with our customers. So we need also to be at the initiative to propose them some new solution. For example, if I take also a concrete example, we are doing some custom packaging for our aerospace customers. It means that we provide them some solution to from a big continent to go in smaller ones, and with a very dedicated way to apply the materials. We've been working on how we could find some alternative way to propose them some custom packs. So moving from rigid plastic continent to flexible materials that could be more easily recyclable and things like that. So, I mean, we are at the initiative of proposing some alternatives. We have also built some life cycle analysis calculator just to provide our customers and to work with them on how could we help them choosing the most interesting and the less impactful solution. So this is some homemade tool, but it helps taking the good solution and going on the good way. So the thing is that sometimes in our case, we are small in their own purchase, and we are sometimes not the priority of what they are buying, or we are not maybe the major part of their carbon emission, for example. So it may happen that even if we try to push some initiative, try to be innovative together with a supplier, with our customers, it may happen that sometimes we are not their priority, and that sometimes they have to deal with some biggest challenge. For example, if we are talking about the aerospace market, it's true that they may have some bigger challenge before taking into account our own materials. But nevertheless, it's important that we again suggest, because everything that could help them, even if it's in a smaller part, but anything that could help them to grow and to manage their own energy transition, it's something which is good. And I think one important thing also, I've been talking a lot about objective and roadmap and KPI and things like that, because it's important. And it's true that we have engaged ourselves also in the science-based target for scope 1 and 2 and scope 3, with some respective challenges of minus 42% and minus 25, which is quite ambitious. And that's important also to leverage those ambitions to onboard our own employees. And it's true that we've been doing a lot and communicating a lot inside our own company to explain why everyone is part of the solution. So of course it goes through communication, and it could also go through the bonuses, for example, that we have put in place for our own employees. So part of the bonuses of our employees are based on some climate objective or energy transition objective. So yeah, and that's important to try to onboard as much as possible, of course, in this way. And again, part of the story and part of this ecosystem Virginie was mentioning, the shareholders are also important. They are important because they are also able to help us to structure again, and to follow and to measure and to be sure that we are on the good track. So yeah, it's not because we are, it's true, a little bit small. Sometimes we are not the priority for part of our customers. Sometimes it's difficult to push our big supplier also to go in this way, because we are talking about some worldwide big one. And sometimes again, we are maybe too small to really have an influence on them. But we keep trying and trying and trying, and today we are quite proud, because even if we are small, we could be resources also for others. So because I think we have started some good things, and it's also a way, yes, to onboard a lot of people. But we would not have been able to do what we did until today if we had been alone, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that's key, and that we said before when we discussed to prepare this panel discussion, that with network initiatives and the connection with peers, you are never alone, actually. So it allows you to connect with others and stay competitive and stay in the loop. So it's really important. We're coming to a close to this panel discussion, but before that, I'd like to really take a step back and go back to you, Luca, and ask you quite a big question, actually. What do you think is the main challenge to be back on track for 2030? So it's a big question, and one key idea maybe is the human factor, the reconciliation between nature and economy.
Thank you, Camille. So I will answer by using the different ideas that actually Renaud and the materials also spoke about so far. So to be back on track for 2030 is a challenge. I think in every change management issue, there is always a point where the efforts are paying off, and then there is a kind of downsizing, a decreasing of energy in which all the players are involved in the change. So in that sense, we need to keep fighting. We need to keep increasing the efforts, or keep the efforts at the same level, to have this long-term payoff. And our payoff, what is our payoff? Is less impact for the environment and better health for the planet, but also for the survival of businesses. And I think in that sense, the players we have around the table today are very aware of that. Is human the reconciliation in between nature and economy? Absolutely. I think as a previous economist, let's say, the role of economy has never been for itself, but it has been for the achievement of a better human realization. But so the human is at the center. We have to put back humans, and this is what is going to happen. This is what is happening already. But in order to achieve that, I will use two words that you already mentioned, is dialogue improvement. And the second one, I translate it as a governance issue. So if we are not coming back to this main issue, which is governance, it will be difficult to orient and to let all the efforts orienting, converging to the right objectives. So sometimes companies are locked in a value chain that is putting pressure on their business model. Sorry. So we have to help them. We have to help the human to be back at the center of the dialogue, and we need to have this governance, this inclusive governance, to take place, so that lead firms, suppliers, they can talk, they can collaborate, they can work on common solutions. Sometimes we also have to consider the issues is that the economy has put in place so far. For example, companies today are never exposed so much towards some suppliers. There is this rationale of diversification, right? Which is completely opposite to the idea of increasing the relations in order to strengthen them and being more dependent. So there are some leverages today that will adjust in the future. So I think that this could be translated by better governance, could be translated by collective action or better collaboration, dialogue improvement. And at the center of all of this, there is the human, and he's willing to tackle the climate change, right? So I'm positive because, let's say, we are getting into a new era of acknowledgement, understanding that nature, yes, can be shaped, but we cannot avoid its consequences. So there is a kind of a kind of understanding how humble we should be toward nature, and we are understanding how to work with it, how to go around some technological issues. I'm positive for that. I think that we are going to scale up. The economy is going to scale up, and all the key actors are working toward that. And I think that sharing your experience, so Marie, Virginie, ours as a network, but also other actors, would be a key point to overcome the problem, to increase the efforts. But then the payoff will be very interesting, because we are going toward net zero, we are going toward less impactful technologies, we are going toward a better impact for biodiversity, and this is something that is going to be like the future of our home, and it's very human to take care of our homes, right?
Right. Thank you, Luca, for these words. Before we finish off, so thank you to all three for all your insights and inputs on this conversation. I'd like to hear from the audience if there's any question regarding the topic or regarding anything our panelists said during this panel discussion. If there are any questions, please do raise your hand or write something in the chat, and I'll either open your mic or read out loud your question. If you do not have any question, I will have one. So I'll leave just a few seconds to let people either write or raise their hand. Well, I don't see anything in the chat, but feel free to still intervene while I ask my question. So there's a last question I wanted to ask our three panelists that we did not prepare, so I'm just throwing that. And I'll start maybe with you, Marie, or anyone that wants to start. So if you, after that discussion, if you had just one key message you'd like to send out to other businesses that wish to tackle climate change and they don't know where to start, what would be your key message, your main advice?
Yeah, back to this main advice, which is do not stay alone. Again, I was talking about being resources. I think when we started to build the corporate social responsibility, we ask for some peers, and we ask some people who had already started about what they do, what were their challenges, what do they have found easy to do. I would say that one of the advice is always to start small, because then it's good to be ambitious, but it's also good to start small to get some first results, which are very encouraging in the way you need to go. And this is what we see at Dev Materials at the moment, is that yeah, we are beginning to get some improvement on green energy, which have increased, with waste, which have reduced. So, and I mean, it is very encouraging. It's a very virtuous cycle. So don't stay alone. Start small but smart. Measure, and then take it step by step. That would be my humble advice. And I really like the final word of Luca, which is we need, and I believe that we could be optimistic, because while participating to this decarbonization accelerator, we were 15 other mid-sized company, and I found that there are a lot of initiatives everywhere, and I feel that really businesses know that they are part of the solution, and I don't. And I'm sure that we are going on the good way. So, and at ADEV we are always very optimistic. So I think it's good to stay optimistic, and I'm sure that we will manage.
Thank you, Marie. Virginie?
I just would like to add one thing. All of our topics are not about experts and specialists. I think that, as Marie said, ask advice, ask support, and think how you could involve every stakeholders, every people in your company, because this is a way to develop more strongly ideas through the network. So my only advice would be, don't stay alone, as you said.
Perfect. And Luca?
It's very difficult to add anything that you already said. No, I would take advantage of the time to thank you to have participated to this, and to having me. I think that we can profit of this time that we have, in fact, for sharing the issues that we have every day. So I can only highlight and reinforce what you already said. Being in a network means by one having multiple solutions, by one having multiple solutions that come from the other members, by one having multiple understanding of one issue, and that works only by sharing and receiving is the only way of advancing together on one issue. And yeah, this is what we try to do every day at the local network France of the Global Compact. So the SDG 17, yes, it's basically horizontal to all the other SDGs, and I think that is going to be by working together. If we are able to work all together, then in that case, the logic of competition will comply better with the logic of advancement and evolution for all of us. I know that this is difficult, but at the end, we will achieve it. I'm optimistic.
Well, thank you for these words. Thank you so much to the three of you for joining us and sharing with us your insights and your respective expertise on this topic. So thank you again. Thank you also to the audience that have joined us. Thank you so much. And also the UNECE for offering us the opportunity to have this panel discussion during their regional forum on sustainable development. I really invite you to check the rest of their agenda for today and tomorrow, both the main event and the rest of the side events that are organized. Are a wide range of topics that are going to be touched on. I also invite you to visit our website, especially tomorrow with the publication of our SBTI guide. Hopefully it will help us dive more into practical step-by-step solution and ideas on how to tackle climate change based on science, and also explore our agenda with all our events. We have many things coming up this year. And thank you again for joining us. I will leave us on that note.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thanks
day.
for the invitation.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.